Nervous about going on your first solo cruise? I still stayed a little bit nervous. Why am I here? Am I having a good time? Do I want to stay here? And if not, I have other options. Oh my God, you're cruising by yourself. You must be crazy. I get it. I've been in your shoes. I have been there. I have been up against that anxiety of, is this the right thing for me to do or not? But wanted to walk you through what got me over the hump and where I am today, because I assure you, I did not always start out with this level of solo cruiser confidence that I have today. Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend. And most of those weekend cruises are solo cruisers. And I am a huge proponent of solo cruising at this point, and wanted to share with you some of my thoughts on what I'm calling solo cruiser confidence. Now, when you look at going on a solo cruise, there's a lot of things that come to mind, and I think that there's two different people or two different mindsets that come into play here. The first is, I'm gonna conquer the world. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna have a blast, and I'm gonna do my thing. That is amazing if you are starting from that level of confidence. Though I would argue most of us are probably in the exact opposite camp, and this is where I was. Anxiety, I was nervous, I didn't know that I was gonna fit in, have a good time, worried what people were gonna be saying about me. You know, those are all the things that are going through my head for my very first cruise. So in thinking about your very first solo cruise, what's holding you back? What do you think that biggest issue is? And in thinking about your own situation, let me know down in the comments what's holding you back. I'd love to make more videos specifically helping people overcome that fear to go on a solo cruise by themselves. Now, I remember my first solo cruise. I went with a small ship. So in my over planning that was happening here, because I was paralyzing myself by researching the heck out of going on my first solo cruise. And I found that I wanted to do a small ship because I felt like if I wanted to get to know people, I could do that. Now, if you're a solo cruiser, it does not mean that you're extroverted or introverted. You can be one or the other, or you can be a little bit of both, like I am when you go on a cruise. You may want to meet people, you may not. But I felt like for me, the best option was to choose a smaller ship to go on a solo cruise, and I went on Empress of the Seas. I still remember checking in with the pier agent. I clearly looked nervous, I think, because she could not have been more kind. She was like, oh, you're going by yourself. And immediately started being like, this is a wonderful ship for you to go by yourself. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have so much fun. And she gave me a little pep talk while I was checking in. And I'll never forget that experience of her walking me through, you know, I'm gonna enjoy myself, get out of my head and enjoy myself. And on the first cruise, I still stayed a little bit nervous. I still was like, what do people think about me? What's going through their heads? I'm clearly here by myself from that very first solo trip 7 years ago, and now probably 120 solo cruises that I've done at this point. I have grown into a level of confidence that, you know, I love cruising by myself now. Though I want to talk about, you know, I still don't have the conquer the world mentality. Solo people can do anything. You know, on YouTube, I may come across as a very confident individual. Hopefully I come across as a confident individual. But when I'm on the ship, I still have those tendencies to revert back to the old ways of thinking what somebody says or thinking about what they think of me. How's this going to go over? I'm sitting at a table by myself at two tables. Somebody sits down directly beside of me. I'm playing on my phone. Do I need to look up? Do I need to make eye contact? Do I need to talk to them? There's all these things that run through my head. And what I have learned is, first of all, people are not thinking bad things about you. Going on a trip by yourself, you are not a sideshow that people are watching and observing and commenting about. They don't even notice you for the most part, I would say. And even if they did notice you and they thought something poorly, I have never once had somebody mention to me, oh my God, you're cruising by yourself. You must be crazy. That is not the reaction. You will certainly get the question of, oh, you're cruising by yourself? Like, how is that? That's so brave. You'll get people inquisitive on how you're doing it because they've never seen themselves being able to do it. But there's never been a single person that has ever spoke poorly of me traveling by myself. So once you kind of overcome the nervousness, the anxiety, you go, you know what, I think that I can do this. The first thing you need to do is book yourself a cruise. Because again, I got into the habit of just overthinking, overanalyzing what cruise ship was going to be the best for me to go on a solo cruise. And I'll tell you that that can be paralyzing. At some point, you got to rip the Band-Aid off and just book a cruise and go. I would say a pro tip here is if you are extremely nervous, you can always book a refundable ticket. It'll at least give you an out. Though if you're certain you want to go, don't book the refundable ticket because that'll give you more incentive to actually make it there. But I understand that you're a little bit nervous right now in thinking about your first solo cruise. The next thing that I'll say is make sure you're signing up for the group cruise newsletters down below in the description, because I love solo cruising. I love going by myself. But what I've learned is I also love going with a group of people. I like having the best of both worlds, where if I want to go do my own thing, I can absolutely do that. But if I want to go sit with somebody for dinner, see a show with somebody, there's the option to do that too. So sign up down below. There is an option for solo cruises. So if you want to go with a group, I think it is a great introductory to say, I'm going on a solo cruise, I'm going by myself, but you're going to have us as a backup option, and we are a really good, wonderful time. And we love solo cruisers. Half of the group is solo cruisers. And once you are on your first solo cruise, whether it's with a group or not, you're going to learn so much about yourself. I think this is one of the most liberating and freeing things that you can do as an individual, is to put yourself first. To learn that you get to do exactly what you want to do. We don't all come to the table with that mentality. We're always trying to people please, or maybe we're worried about what people are going to say. When you start cruising alone and cruising as a solo, you very quickly learn what you like to do and what you don't like to do. I remember one of the first times I was sitting, I don't know if it was a comedian, it was somebody that I did not like in the theater as a headliner. And I'm sitting there 15 minutes in, and I'm like, this guy's horrible. Like, I don't want to stay for this. And I was like, why am I hanging out at a venue watching a performer I don't want to be watching? Like, there is no reason why I cannot get up and just walk out right now and go find something better to do. Even if that's going to sleep, I have the options of doing something different. And so I did, and I got up and left that show, and I have never looked back on saying, why am I here? Am I having a good time? Do I want to stay here? And if not, I have other options. I can certainly go do something else. I don't have to please others. You're going to meet other people when you come on the cruise, more than likely, unless you just absolutely don't want to. But you very quickly learn that even what they want to do, I don't have to do that. And they're going to be okay with that. If I want to meet up with them later, that's fine. But if they're all going dancing, last night is a good example. I'm here on the Celebrity Summit. People wanted me to stay out and hang out at the silent disco. I wanted to stay at the silent disco, but I was tired. This time change that we just had last weekend, so we're at the beginning of November, is killing me. And so I was like, I'm out, I'm going to bed. I put me first, and that is one of the wonderful things that I love about going on solo trips. And as you continue to go on more solo cruises by yourself, you're going to grow into a level of confidence you never imagined that you could have, because you're going to learn the ropes. You're going to know what happens. You're going to learn, do you want to interact with people? Do you not want to interact with people? And you're going to learn so much about yourself. I would encourage you, don't sit on the sidelines waiting for somebody to go with you on a cruise. It's not worth it. Don't wait for them to save up enough money, check their schedule, and sure, nothing better is going to come along. Go ahead and book it. If they can join you, that's great. But go ahead and book your cruise. If you need to go by yourself, you can absolutely do that. Because in this life, somebody has to treat you well, and it might as well be you. All right, everybody, this is Brandon the Weekend Cruiser. Hope to see you on a weekend cruise soon.